Live from WTVO Rockford and your home team. Eyewitness News at 6 starts now.
Breaking news tonight, the family of the nation's oldest living president gives an update on his health. Another community is shaken by gun violence. The latest on the 9 victims who are all under the age of 18. And Rockford's efforts to end homelessness are touted at the state level. The reason why the governor is using the city's work as an example. Good evening, I'm Taylor Castro. Thanks for joining us tonight. Developing now, a statement by the Carter Center released this afternoon says former President Jimmy Carter has decided to spend his remaining time at home with his family in Plains, Georgia. There, he will receive hospice care instead of additional medical intervention. He beat brain cancer 8 years ago, but experienced other health issues starting 4 years ago. Carter is the oldest living U.S. president, now at 98 years old, and he was the nation's 39th president, elected in 1976. In court today, the man arrested for setting fire to Peoria's Planned Parenthood last month pleads guilty. 32-year-old Tyler Massengill faces a mandatory minimum prison sentence of at least 5 years, but he could receive 20. The charges of malicious use of fire and attempt to damage also carry up to 3 years of supervised release and fines of up to $250,000. Planned Parenthood officials say the fire did more than $1 million in damage. He'll be sentenced July 6th. It's been 2 weeks since a train carrying hazardous material derailed. Ohio's governor held a press conference saying that tests of municipal drinking water came back safe to use and drink, meaning residents whose primary water source is municipal water do not need to use bottled water. However, a section of sulfur run nearest to the derailment site remains highly contaminated.
Just after 10 Friday night, Columbus, Georgia police responded to a shooting with multiple victims outside of a Shell gas station. Police Chief Freddie Blackman says shots were fired after a fight from a nearby party led to the Shell. All of the victims are under 18.
The ages of these 9 victims range from 5 to 17.
According to police, the victims' injuries don't appear life-threatening. As of early Saturday afternoon, at least 4 of the young people were released from the hospital.
Our prayers are with all of these young people that are injured and certainly all their families.
Many of the circumstances surrounding the shooting remain under investigation, but Blackman says the 5-year-old caught in the gunfire was at the gas station with family and not at the initial party.
The 5-year-old was in the area. We do not have any information that the 5-year-old was being targeted.
As investigators work around the clock putting the pieces together, Blackman urges parents to talk to their children.
To our parents, let's make sure that we know where our children are. Let's make sure we know what our children have in their possession.
That was Jewel Hillary reporting. Also in the southern U.S., police are looking for a motive after 6 people were shot and killed in a small community in rural Mississippi. The victims were shot in several different locations Friday in Tate County. That's in the northwestern part of the state. The suspect, 52-year-old Richard Crum, is in custody. Police say after shooting a man at a convenience store, Crum drove to the home of his ex-wife and shot and killed her, along with 2 handymen. Police also believe he killed his stepfather and his stepfather's sister. Another community in mourning. Services were held today for 2 of the students killed earlier this week in the mass shooting at Michigan State. 20-year-old sophomore Brian Frazier was laid to rest in Grosse Pointe Farms, Michigan. A few miles away, funeral services were held for 20-year-old Alexandria Verner. 19-year-old junior Ariel Anderson will be laid to rest later next week. 5 more students were injured in the attack on Monday. The 43-year-old gunman had no ties to the university. As campus activities are paused following the shooting, Michigan State students are urging university officials to change class structure. A petition calling for online or hybrid classes for the rest of the semester has more than 19,000 signatures. The petition's organizer says students are still grieving and want the university to offer another option for those who are not ready to return. She also wants more done to address security and other needs. The university says it will keep the buildings where the shootings occurred closed for the rest of the semester. Rockford is highlighted for its effort to end homelessness. The city is now being used as an example across the state. Theodora Kovallaris has more on the governor's budget plan that would invest $50 million into helping other communities do the same.
In 2015, Rockford became the first city in the U.S. to get its homeless veterans off of the streets. 2 years later, they say they nearly eliminated chronic homelessness.
Now we are inching very close to getting to adult, children, and family functional zero for homelessness, which we would be the first city in the entire country to do so.
To get to this point, Mayor Thomas McNamara says they had staff working with people who were unhoused and getting them the resources they needed.
And at the same time that we were doing that, we were building partnerships with community-based organizations that could help fill the needs that our unhoused population had.
When Governor Pritzker unveiled Home Illinois, his initiative to combating homelessness, he pointed to their success.
The state should help other communities do the same, mobilizing every agency and every resource at our disposal so that no Illinoisans go without a home.
Other communities like Springfield are looking to Rockford as an example.
We can literally follow their steps, apply them directly here, and know that it'll work. And I think that's something that a lot of people need to know, that a direct example within proxy is very retainable.
Heartland House has a goal to nearly end homelessness in Springfield by 2028. To do that, they have a plan that includes creating more housing opportunities and partnering with healthcare, public safety, and workforce groups to connect people with help.
When communities work together collaboratively, from city governments, state governments, service providers, and use a housing first model, a system can be put together to address homelessness effectively.
For Heartland Housed, seeing the governor's plan gives them optimism.
That was Theodora Kovallaris reporting. Get ready to pay even more at the checkout line for food this year. That's what Nestle, the world's largest food group, says. Other big consumer producers agree. Nestle says inflation is forcing it to pass on rising costs to the public. Food producers say raw materials such as energy, dairy products, and grains remain high. Labor costs have also increased. Experts say it's a delicate balance for food producers. While they face increasing costs, they can't raise prices dramatically or risk turning shoppers away. The motorcycle community is always looking for ways to give back. Our Nikel Delgado spent the day at one location. Nikel, they said they had to change their plans.
Yeah, that's right, Taylor. Kegel Harley-Davidson originally planned for their third annual chili cook-off. Unfortunately, due to the Winnebago County Health Department requirements, it was canceled, but that didn't stop them from wanting to give back to the community.
I know a lot of people were looking forward to hopefully flourish into making the best possible outcome from an unfortunate circumstance.
Marketing and event coordinator Chelsea Johnson says they are disappointed with the cancellation of the chili cook-off, but decided to switch gears to a No Soup for You donation drive.
The dealership is going to match up to $1,000 in donations, so if we can get that through the doors today, we'll be donating approximately $500 more than we did the year before.
General manager and co-owner Katrina Kegel-Mather says with how the economy is, they want to do their part, making it a little bit easier for others in raising money for the food pantry.
A lot of people are struggling right now, and if it's something that we can do to help, then we want to do it. I've said many times that bikers are a very giving community, and we like to help. So this is our way of trying to help give back.
Both Katrina and Chelsea hope people get inspired to help others.
I just encourage everybody to come, if you couldn't make it in today, to go down to the food pantry and make whatever contribution that you can to continue to help our community to move forward.
All of the non-perishable food and monetary contributions collected will go to Rock River Valley Food Pantry. Taylor?
Now, your first warned weather forecast from meteorologist Jordan Wolf.
Our temperatures today were a lot warmer than where we were yesterday. Many spots ended up making it into the 40s, especially if you look a little bit further to the south. Now, we did see that fresh snow in many spots across the area. That kept our temperatures a little bit lower than they otherwise could have been, because some spots a little bit further to the south of us even made their way close to 50 degrees today. 41 was officially our high temperature here in Rockford, and temperatures at the moment are still quite a bit warmer than where we were just this time yesterday. Many spots anywhere from 15, even close to 20 degrees warmer than where we were just 24 hours ago, and that remains the case even late into the evening tonight, as this is about the time where most of our temperatures were dropping pretty close to their lowest point before we ended up starting to warm as we got later into the night last night. Temperatures will not warm the rest of the night tonight, but we will fall back just a little bit. Night has now fallen. Our SkyTrack camera up there in Poplar Grove, we actually saw some melting of the snow as temperatures did make their way into the 40s during the day today. However, we did not have the sunshine as we got later into the afternoon. A lot more of that cloud cover hang with us as we got into the afternoon evening hours. A lot of that cloud cover still showing up on our satellite and radar. We are still seeing that southerly wind though, and that's helping to keep us a little bit warmer, or at least a little bit more mild as we get later into the evening tonight. High pressure still off to the south. Some spots, as I mentioned, did make their way into the upper 40s and even close to 50 degrees a little bit further off downstate. But up here, we ended up only making our temperatures up into the low 40s at the highest point for many of us. We are still in the 30s in a couple spots, even close to 40 degrees. 41 in Sterling, 35 Rochelle, 37 in Rockford at the current moment. Those temperatures will continue to fall back just a little bit as we get later into the night tonight. Checking with our weather watcher, Mike, just north of Forest, in a temperature of 38 degrees, mostly cloudy skies, as well as calm conditions. No additional precipitation after the snow that we had just a few days ago. As I mentioned, temperatures not really falling too far the rest of the night tonight, only down to 33 degrees. Fairly warm for our overnight low. We could see an isolated sprinkle or two as we get later into the night tonight, going into the very early part of the morning tomorrow. However, we get that sunshine back in for the day tomorrow. Temperatures back into the 40s, still warm and breezy with a little bit more of that sunshine. Temperatures the rest of the week remaining above normal as well. 43 degrees for Sunday, still in the 40s for Monday, above normal or at least close to normal for all the rest of the week until we get later into the week before we start seeing some of that cooler air coming in. Talking about those sprinkles, as I mentioned, there is a slot of dry air that's just a little bit further off above the surface. That could keep some of these sprinkles from quite reaching the ground, but as we get later on in the later part of the morning, we're talking about much drier conditions and not really looking at any major precipitation chances. That changes as we get into the week though, as we do have another chance on Monday, and then potentially some wintry mix that does come in for the middle of the week. The system still has plenty of time to shift back and forth, but we'll definitely be keeping a very close eye on that as that rain-snow line does end up looking very close to the state line. Still temperatures in the 40s for the next few days. That slight chance for precipitation as we get into Monday, and then once again into Tuesday. The middle of the week does look like potentially a mess, and then eventually slightly colder temperatures toward next weekend.
Now sports with sports director Scott Lever.
5 years have passed since Harlem was the last local team to win a girls' state bowling championship. Could Harlem or Hononegah break that drought today? It was another packed house at the Cherry Bowl for day 2. 12 teams and several individuals taking to the lanes at state, and one of those individuals was right here, Guilford freshman Sarah Ligu. What a future she has in the sport. What a present, too, as she gets the strike. She finished in 25th place. Hononegah started today in 8th place in the team standings. Madison Carlson collects the spare there. Madison was the 14th best individual bowler. Cassidy Carlson there gets this roll right in the sweet spot. Hononegah finished in 8th place as a team. Now, Harlem Nation was in the house cheering on their Huskies, and the H train was rolling. This is senior Stephanie Windsor on her way to a high game of 236 during the morning session. Junior Miranda Clean's up next for the Huskies. Oh yeah, right there. Now let's see if Ashlyn Tevis can keep it up, and she does. Next is freshman Allison Roberts. And Allison lowers the boom. What a tournament for Roberts. She was Harlem's top bowler and the 10th bowler overall individually. Harlem as a team finished in 3rd place, only 97 pins behind champion Lockport. Joliet finished 2nd. Hononegah finished in 8th place.
These girls came out of nowhere. I mean, they've worked hard all year long trying to prove that they belong here. And for the last 2 days, they bowled fantastic.
I've been more consistent this whole weekend than I've ever been. And that's what I'm most proud about. I just can't believe that I'm doing this as a freshman.
Talented. At Jefferson High School today, the boys' sectional swim meet was held. This is the 200-yard individual medley. Byron's Nathan Bell was the man in that event, touching first and clinching a trip to state. Next is the 50-yard freestyle. Jacob Gramer of DeKalb just edged Harlem's Jeremy Mueller for the win. They'll both go to state. In the 100-yard butterfly, Levi Shamper of Byron cranked out a fast time of 51.16 seconds to finish almost 2 seconds ahead of runner-up Cale Miles of Hononegah. Next is the 100 freestyle, and Rockford East senior Camden Taylor set the sectional record in this event last year, and we broke that today. Taylor won in 44.92 seconds. Taylor also won the 200 freestyle, and again, he smashed his own sectional record in that event. You can find more sectional swimming and diving results at mystateline.com. College buckets now. The Fighting Illini were in Indiana to face the Hoosiers. In their first game against Indiana last month, the Illini watched Hoosiers big man Trace Jackson Davis there go off for 35 points. Wasn't quite so bad today, but Jackson Davis did score 26 points. He also had 12 rebounds and 3 block shots. The Illini lost 71-68. The Illini were without their leading scorer, Terrence Shannon. He's in concussion protocol. Tiger Woods had a great day today in the third round of the PGA's Genesis Invitational. Shot a 4 under par 67. He is now 3 under par for the tournament and tied for 26th place. The 4 under round was his best round since the 2020 Masters.
Well, we're not done with winter quite yet. Snow chances on the way.
At least some wintry precipitation chances. Maybe we'll see the snow a little bit further off to the north, but depends on how that track shifts as we get later into next week. So something we're definitely going to be keeping a pretty close eye on as we get later on into the week. In the short term, though, we do have to talk about some isolated sprinkle chances the rest of the night tonight. First one, interactive radar from Rockford Auto Glass and More on our website, mystateline.com. Not really showing up anything at the moment, but those overcast skies do give to a couple chances for some of those sprinkles as we get later on into the night, going into the round after midnight, going toward 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. As we get into the day tomorrow, a lot of sunshine though for the afternoon. We're back into the 40s for those temperatures, a little bit warmer even than where we were today. We made it up to 41 degrees earlier today. 43 is the high during the day tomorrow. Then still in the 40s for Monday with another slight chance for some precipitation, probably rain showers, especially depending on how temperatures trend for that. Then for the middle of the week, we do have to watch for that system that does likely bring us a chance for some wintry mix, mainly rain a little bit further to the south.
At least the later sunsets will get us through it. Thanks, Jordan. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you at 10.